If you could only watch season one of Breaking Bad or season one of The Sopranos for the rest of your life, which one are you choosing? Not the show, the seasons. Which one are you going with?
It's Sopranos,
Mm,
and it's not fair. It's really not fair.
okay, talk to me about it.
It's not from a quality standpoint. It's literally from a logistic standpoint of they just got more episodes. You know.
Okay, so let me ask you. Can I ask you a different way?
Okay.
If you can only watch one pilot for the rest of your life, between the pilot of Sopranos and the pilot of Breaking Bad, which one are you choosing?
That's where it gets a little tricky.
Which one are you choosing, and which one gets you into the show quicker? Or I guess which one is more intriguing? Maybe not getting to the show quicker, but which one is more intriguing
Damn,
overall?
that's interesting. A mobster going to therapy, a science teacher wanting to cook meth.
Hmm.
Huh. It's and the Tony we get on the pilot is not the Tony that we even in the first season.
Yeah, yeah. Forget it. Forget everything. I mean, we talking about pilot. That's all you know. You don't know anything else. The rest of the show doesn't exist to you yet. You just watch the pilot. Which one are you going with?
I'm trying to remember all that happened. Walt had the birthday. We talked about
Gets a gets a cancer diagnosis.
the diagnosis. He calls up Jesse, right? And is that all in the pilot?
He does the ride along and sees
Yeah, to ride
Jesse.
along. He sees Jesse. Oh, he pulls up on Jesse. That's what he did at night.
Yeah.
Tony in The Sopranos, he's talking to Melfi. He's having a dream about the ducks. We see him with the family. He's chasing down somebody. We see his mother being a miserable prick.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
shout, out to, shout out to Olivia. Psych.
it's so hard. Sopranos is my favorite show, so I'm trying not to be
Yeah.
biased. I do think Breaking Bad is the better pilot. I will say, just
Yeah. There
because
you go. There you go.
it's the better pilot, but gosh, I hate to say it. I hate to
Yeah,
say it so
man.
much, bro. What about
But
you?
but it's right. But it's right. It's Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's got the better pilot of the two shows. Of course, one thing that I guess it has going for it, it's an immediate hook.
Yeah.
It's an immediate hook. So, and I know we'll talk about this a little bit more once we get into the actual episode, but it is a little bit. They both have their advantages and disadvantages.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sopranos requires you to be a little bit more patient, which is crazy to say when we talk about Breaking Bad, because season one
That's
was
true.
you had to be very patient with the show in season one, but it also kind of moved it along. I think going to your point about it only having 7 episodes versus 12 or 13 or whatever the case may be. And The Sopranos, the disadvantage for that is we're all familiar with mob activity when it comes to entertainment, right? So you think of even if it's not mob related, you think of gangster films, but uh Godfather Part One, Part Two, you think of Donnie Brasco, you think of I'm trying to think of everything that came out before this, Casino. Now there's a good TV show right there. If Casino's obviously it's a movie classic, but if we can have a television show centered around how the mob took over Vegas, I think that would be fire. But either way, we
Absolutely.
see all these we see all these things with Goodfellas. I don't know if I said Goodfellas yet, but we see all these things, and you kind of know what to expect. There's an expectations that's been set for you. So when you get this mob show that's coming out, and it's about this guy in therapy and holding ducks, you're like, hold on, what the fuck? Where's somebody getting their head back there? And like, where's the knifing? Where's this and that? It just doesn't happen, and it kind of takes you through when you're like, all right, it's something, but it ain't what I expected. So Breaking Bad is not. You're more prone to have seen something from Sopranos than you are Breaking Bad. That's just a whole new world, and I think the uniqueness of it draws your attention.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like, what's going on over here? Let me just take a look and kind of see what's what. And I think the pilot does a good job of drawing you in, especially with the cold open. You got this guy just outside in his drawers, and it's like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on here?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm giving it to Breaking Bad. Much
Damn.
more to talk. Much more to talk about as we talk about the season, though. And I think that's a good way to get into the show. What's going on, good people? Welcome back to a new episode of No More Half Measures covering Breaking Bad. I'm your host, Rich, joined by my good brother, Maurice Hunt III. Mo, how you feeling, man?
Hey man, it's stirred, it's brewed, espresso, expressing myself, mochaccino in the building.
I love it. I love that you stick with it, man. I love your persistency, man. It's one of your greatest superpowers. One of your greatest superpowers, man.
Yes,
But
sir.
shout out to everybody out there listening. We appreciate y'all. Not sure what we calling y'all yet, man. We got to figure out a
I
name.
know, right?
Maybe somebody wants to take some charge.
I told you they the
Tell us
customers.
the customers, yeah. I'm not mad at the customers. If anybody out there has a different idea,
Yeah.
by all means, let us know. It is your name, so I guess we could let you pick it. But if not, you the customers. Um, Serving you that good product here once again on a Monday. This is a little bit different episode. Shout out to our brother Spike Lou. Spike Lou is at home visiting
Shout
the
out to him.
fam. Yeah, obviously it's a holiday season, so things are hectic. We tried to get something done beforehand, but things didn't go as planned. So instead of not having anything on your feed, Mo and myself were still available to kind of put out something. It's a bonus episode. We had Back of the Bing, if you're familiar with Good Earners. We're not sure what we're gonna call this yet.
Yeah.
Obviously, we see we at the chicken spot, posted up, getting our favorite meal, getting the crispy chicken bucket.
Uh-huh.
But we'll figure out a name. So once again, if y'all have any ideas for what to call these segments, similar to Back of the Bings,
Hmm.
let us know. And we're gonna hold off on reading emails until we get back into
Absolutely.
the actual show. So we will. We had told you before we were only gonna take Christmas off.
Hmm.
And we'll still have a new episode on the New Year's week. We're still be recording. That's still holding true. It will just be episode 2 instead of episode 3. So
Yeah.
hopefully y'all cool, man. And hopefully everybody's doing well, gearing up for this holiday season, or I guess the tail end of it. And we're excited to be here with you to have a conversation. Mo, how you feeling, man?
Yeah, I just came up with a name. I'm gonna throw it in the chat.
All right, all right.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I love. I'm enjoying this. The progression is starting to happen. Obviously, we've already seen our next episode, even though we can't talk about it yet because we're missing one of the cooks. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this concept because y'all know some of y'all are just Breaking Bad fans. Maybe you've never seen The Sopranos. Some of y'all are Soprano fans, and y'all just followed us over here. But I love how we constantly blending the world, and that's what I'm excited about to do today. It's like we got season one under our belt, and I'm loving how we could blend the world. And also, it may get some people to say, "Let me go back and see what they were talking about season one." The only thing I wish is that Rich was there from day one because it'd be even more like cohesive. But nonetheless, if y'all haven't heard our takes on Sopranos, go check out Good Earners.
Appreciate that, my brother. Thank you, thank you. In this episode, we were kind of, Mo and myself have a tendency of when we know we're gonna record, we just kind of let it flow. So we knew we wanted to do something, and then I randomly called him and said, "Yo, I think I got an idea." Considering we just finished season 1 of Breaking Bad, it might be a good time, especially since we reference Good Earners and Sopranos a lot on the show. Let's take a look at this Michael Jordan Kobe scenario. And
Yes,
let's take a
perfect.
look at this season ones of each show. Not the entire series. Obviously, we're not there yet with Breaking Bad. But let's look at season 1 and kind of see where things happen. And Mo, I kind of want to kick things off with one simple thing, which is I think we can both agree that Breaking Bad really doesn't exist without Sopranos, correct?
Correct.
Would you say that Breaking Bad, similar to that Kobe MJ conversation, did Breaking Bad take Sopranos moves and just kind of perfected them? Because
Yeah.
since they had the
Yeah.
blueprint, do you think they took it to another level?
Yeah.
Is this next statement true? Let me know. Sopranos has more influence. Breaking Bad is a better rewatch.
No.
No. Okay.
No.
You think Sopranos has more influence and it's a better rewatch?
I mean, again, this is the tricky part because this is me your second time in the rodeo,
Mm-hmm.
right? And right now we only can really go off of season one and season two, episode one. But obviously, episode two, we know like, okay, now we're cooking. Now we're really going into what Breaking Bad is, how we remember it. So that's the tricky part of it. But the hardest part, at least for me, is there is a relatability with the mafia, not so much the mafia, but the Italian American like perspective and how it was written, and then how we are as Black Americans. There's
Okay.
so many tissue connective tissues when I looked at it. Breaking Bad is definitely totally different from that standpoint of identity thing for me. So the
Hmm.
rewatch is a little different. The Breaking Bad rewatch is observation, for me more so. And Sopranos is more connection. So
Mm.
that's the way I looked at it. I connected with the father aspect or the husband aspect. Or I connected with the hustle aspect or the friend group aspect of it or the protective aspect of it, even the flawed aspect. I connected more to that. Breaking Bad is not really a show to me that's built on those uh different ingredients.
I agree with you 100%. It is Sopranos was much more intentional about the family element. I know that's one thing you always talked about when we were recording Good Earners. You love the family scenes; those are some of your favorites. And even though we get family scenes in Breaking Bad, it's completely different. It's completely toned, completely. As much as Walt was a lone wolf, and so was Tony, but Tony had family and his second family as well. He
Facts.
was born into that life. He wasn't compelled to do it out of a means to an end. Once again, we could have the conversation all day about when did Walt break bad? Is that who he was? But
Mm-hmm.
it all started as I have cancer. I need to make some money.
Yeah.
Tony started as I was born into this.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Henry Hill. For as long as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Always.
You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
Tony was kind of into that life, and it was one of those I don't even know what else to do. Uh, which actually, now that I'm thinking about that, how long could Walt have survived in Tony's world?
There's a YouTuber that has done something like that.
Really?
Like he does like a interesting verses and tries to see like matches up people because he did I think it might be the same page where they did a Joe Goldberg versus Dexter Morgan, and
Okay,
interesting thing. So
that's a good
uh
matchup.
yeah, it is. I mean,
Yeah, that's
obviously
a good matchup.
Dexter Morgan gonna wash him, obviously, but uh so Walt wouldn't have last long in this. He would have got through. He would have getting whacked at the end of season one of Sopranos, like Febby,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Is there any hmm interesting? Is there any I'm about to make a Game of Thrones reference, not Littlefinger, my other guy.
Hmm.
The
Oh, the bald one.
yes. I don't know
What's his
why I can't
like
think of his name right
Varese?
now.
Like it started with a V or something like that. I know like
Varys.
Varys. Okay, there we go.
Yes, Varys. Is there any when I look at Littlefinger, when I look at Varys in Game of Thrones, I just look at them as survivors, like surviving events.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter how you do it, just live to see another day.
Hmm.
Is there if Walt did survive, can we see Walt turn into a different person throughout Breaking Bad? Right?
Hmm.
And he doesn't have the therapy aspect. He uses his silence. He kind of hits boiling points and he kind of explodes. And he's
Hmm.
very thoughtful and very tactical. I'll give
Yeah.
him that. But um, could therapy have saved Walt?
No.
Because I mean, I guess if we're looking at it from, it could have been a Tony situation where it was just making him a better version of who he was.
Yeah.
You
Well,
think Walt would have looked at it that way, or he would have actually tried to
Walt
regain some kind of moral consciousness?
Walt was too civilian gang. That's the difference. Like this was unfamiliar
So
territory.
who Wonder Bread Wop?
He a Wonder Bread Wop. You know what I'm saying? Like Tony, this was so unfamiliar territory, so it was an addition to everything he was doing. But Walt is civilian gang, so doing the therapy thing was so regular. I don't think it could have benefited him in his relationships, but it would have made him a better kingpin. It just because he's too smart. I feel like he would almost even have outsmarted his therapist. You know what I mean? So I don't think it would have benefited him the same way it did Tony, because for Tony, this was kind of a civilian route for a mobster.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Who do you think had the bigger ego between the two? if you had to say? Why you getting weak?
Cause like Tony is so fried, and
But
okay,
so is Walt.
so Walt is too, but like
They both
Tony
fried.
whacks his nephew. Spoiler alert, and then say he's frustrated at the fact that people are mourning him, and it's just like, bro, he
Tony's
was,
sick. He a sick man.
and then went out there take peyote, and I'm about to smash his hottest Gumar just because, like, he probably would have smashed Kelly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we talked about that. And so it's just, I mean, don't get me wrong, Walt is like, there are some things, obviously, we're not going to spoil it here because we ain't got there. But I think Tony, like, his ego, like, even the fact that, like, sleeping with, the one legged woman and,
Um,
like, what,
yeah. I was about to say
Svetlana,
Irina, but it
Svetlana.
was Svetlana. It wasn't
And then,
Irina.
like really feeling a certain kind of way about it because she didn't want him. Like I don't know. And here's the tricky part. It's not so much because Walt could have a bigger ego than Tony. It's that we were exposed to more because of the therapy. It's this breaking the fourth wall thing that Sopranos did that we necessarily didn't get from Breaking Bad, and that wasn't their um, intent. I don't think, you know what I mean. So that's the tricky part of it all, really.
I, I think Walt had the bigger ego, man. I ain't gonna hold you. I
Okay,
think
let me.
Walt, and here's why.
Okay,
Here's why. Because Walt is something about people who are super smart, man. It's just one of those things when you grow up and you're always the smartest person in the room, and maybe there's a few rare occurrences where you weren't. Um, I think it's hard to turn that off, no matter how you try to play it. See, it goes back into that whole how they were raised. And Tony knowing I'm a gangster, bro. I've been a gangster. I've inherited. This is in my blood. This is what I'm gonna do. I know we got some many saints in Newark, and Tony talking about wanting to go to college and all this other stuff, but it hit a point where you knew this was the path that you're taking, and that's cool. I'm gonna get my. I think there's more of a you can even say hazing aspect in that world, to where you kind of own. Remember Chris in season one, right? Before he was made. It's kind of the stuff you had to do. You sweeping up the shop. You the errand guy. Tony had to rob the card game with the fellas. He had to get his name known out there. Walt never had to do that. I've always been smart. Like I've always been at the top of my profession, where Tony wasn't always at the top of the gangster profession.
true.
And I think that Walt not having to hmm, and this is interesting. I'm thinking about this in real time. You have to be humble enough to be that smart and take a high school teacher job.
Yeah,
But I think I might attribute that more to Walt checking out.
and I
If
need
you live
more
long
on that.
enough, well, you need more from the show.
I I, I need there's just this gap. We get that flashback in season one, and there's a
Like how they
gap
go from this
of
to
like
this.
gray matter. Yeah, like that, like the whole gray matter thing. Like
Mhm.
there's this gap between that and how he got there, and I don't know if Skyler is the pivotal point. I know we kind of was
What
trying to piece it together, but
I think losing gray matter, and everything that what happened. Like I said, we're not going to talk about that. We'll get some flashbacks, but him not being part of that company, I think that's it. I think that everybody, if you're not careful, you can hit a point in your life where you just kind of check out. And it is what it is. Like you kind of accept the fact that you know what, this is going to be my everyday life for the rest of my life. I'm going to go to this school. I'm going to teach these ungrateful high schoolers. I'm going to grade these papers. I'm going to come home. I'm going to be the head of the science department, and that's it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get my wife pregnant again, and maybe
crazy.
kind of maybe fulfill some sense of purpose in that, and that's it. I'm gonna look after my son, who has, you know, who knows if he'll be able to even, what that's gonna look like for him to live on his own, or how is he gonna function outside of the household. Because we did see a scene where he can't even put on his jeans by himself, can't even try them on. So
Mm-hmm.
these are all things probably going on through Walt's head, and he's cool with it because the thing he cared about the most is gone. It's going. So I think that was just a way for him to check out. I don't know if that had anything to do with his ego, because we see it right away. His ego kicks back in, and you can't turn that on or off. He just decided to say fuck it. And then once he had a little bit of spark of something that he could be good at again,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta think, man.
That it's that
Him cooking is
intervention.
like him cooking is him putting up jumpers. That's
Yeah,
him in the
yeah,
gym again. Like,
yeah.
oh shit, I love this. You know what I mean? I
Yeah, all
really
that.
enjoy doing this.
Like, me breaking into places, figuring out the chemicals, me creating. Well, I can't say that because that's the episode 2 of season 2, so I can't say that. But like, just the science aspect of the things that it takes to get through the door. You know what I mean?
hmm Do you feel bad for either one of them?
Um, I feel bad for Tony for a while until it's like, all right, you're a piece of dirt. Like, obviously, the episode where I think it's a season 6 episode where Janice is trying to get better.
Ah, I wonder what Harpo see in his family dinner.
All right. Hey, hey,
Hey,
man.
Tony ain't
Hey,
shit.
we had such. I'm sorry, bro. Y'all excuse me if I remember this, but we had such a good time, bro. That was so. It's so nostalgic even now, even though I know it wasn't that long ago that we were driving in the car, and as far as y'all know, we should still be there. But uh, but like him doing cold cuts was that? I think it was cold cuts. But yeah, just like when he was doing stuff, I was like, oh yeah, he is. This is who he is, and he's at the point like whoever's around him is going to be miserable because he couldn't accept the fact of the happy wanderer. That's a through line in The Sopranos. These happy wanderers were like all of this chaos and menacing things are happening around, but yet and still they find a way to find happiness and peace. You know, and Tony can't find it even when he's like in the pool and, you know, Carmela's talking about moving chairs and like, all you do is bitch, bitch, bitch. Like he can't find peace anywhere versus the happy wanderer that they can always seem to find it regardless of what's going on. So, I felt bad for Tony to some point where, there's a therapy session where he's talking to Melfi and he's talking about this time where him and his sister like kind of band together in some scenario because of what Livia was doing. But he said, don't you basically like, don't get it twisted. Like, hey, it was every man for himself. Like I wasn't protecting her for real. It was every man for himself. So don't even get it confused. So, they had a hard upbringing. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know Walt's upbringing quite yet, at least not at this stage of our rewatch. But yeah, I did feel bad for Tony for a while until you be like, okay, you're a piece of shit. But Walt,
What made
not
you feel
really.
bad for him though?
Just because it's like he was born into it. Like his dad, his uncle Dickie, obviously in the
He didn't have a
prequel,
choice.
he didn't have a choice. It's like, you know, that's what it was like, and that's why I think he had a hard time, like, because you would see it come out when he was trying to like help Jackie Jr. It's like I want you, I'm trying to help you like not be in this thing, but versus Chris, and Chris is like, oh, so it's good enough for him, but it's not good enough for me. But he's looking at it like, bro, you're Dickie Montesanti's son. This is all the way in you already. You know what I'm saying? As far as the mob life, you know, why be in the crew, why be a gangster? So I felt bad for him because it's like, this is all he's known. He's never been exposed. Closest thing we get to that is like finding out he went to college at Seton Hall, you know, in the first season, tying it all back to our.
You go to Seton Hall or you go to Rutgers?
I thought it was Seton Hall. I'll look it up.
Tony getting into Seton Hall is crazy. Not because he wasn't smart, just because I couldn't see him applying himself like that. But you could be right. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
It's all good either way.
He Seton Hall.
Damn it, Tony. That's even, but that does make sense because I think it's to what you said. Tony not really having a choice. Walt having a choice. Tony was kind of he inherited this lifestyle. Um, that's even more tragic, honestly. Him getting into somewhere like Seton Hall because it makes you look at it as, damn, what could his life have been had he been able to make his own? I won't say make his own choices because he could have, but had he had not been influenced, if he was just a guy who grew up in a household like Walt,
Mm-hmm.
could he have gone to Seton Hall and been something else other than this?
Do you
You know,
think,
that's the
real quick, do you think, you know how they got the snowfall, what if dream sequence?
yeah, yeah.
Do you think,
Which I wasn't a big fan of, but
okay, so you don't, okay, never mind. Because I was going to ask, would you have been there? You know what? I'm asking anyway, because we get a lot of dream sequences
yeah.
in The Sopranos. would you have been there for a dream sequence of seeing? Because we kind of get a little bit of that with the coach. I forgot Amari or whatever his name was. We get a little bit of that in that moment, but like, would you have been there for that type of dream sequence to see what Tony's life would have been if he didn't accept this life?
Oh no, and the only reason I say that is because it the way I'm picturing it, it wouldn't have fit the show. I don't think it would have fit the theme of Sopranos. It would have been kind of, I guess my thing would have been what would have been the purpose of them showing us that, other than just to show us, right? It would have been like a standoff, one alone episode. And Sopranos just wasn't built that way. Um, so if it was, or maybe it would have to be much more nuanced, right? It would have to be Tony really wrestling with the fact that he doesn't want to live this life anymore. And all these thoughts are leading into a dream sequence of maybe what his life could have looked like if he hadn't done that. But it would have been so disingenuous for Tony not to want to live that life anymore. He was all in. Even
Mm-hmm.
if he did make his own rules, even if he did break his own rules, he was still a gangster, and that wasn't going to change. Like
That's true.
to quote Heat, man, it's no ballparks and barbecues and ball games. Like, nah, that's not the
Mm.
life he living. So,
You know,
um,
you say
yeah.
that. I think it could have worked in the season 6A instead of the Kevin Finnerty.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like he's in a,
Oh,
you see?
okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Hey,
yeah,
matter of fact, this is going on the Good Earners page too. We're doing twofers. This is going on
yeah.
Breaking Bad. I'm uploading this joint to both because this fits both.
No, so yes, yeah, okay. I follow. I pick up what you're putting down. So
Yeah.
if they didn't have the Kevin Finnerty storyline, and that whole storyline was Tony being Tony in an alternate universe of
Yeah.
actually being the salesperson. I
Uh-huh.
know that's what they were trying to go for with Kevin
Right.
Finnerty,
Right.
but you add a couple things, clean it up, and we know for sure this is Tony living that alternate life. And there's no better time to think about going down a different path than when you fighting for your life. And
Yes.
the path that you went down is the reason why you fighting your life. And of course, you start thinking about all your regrets and man, what if I done this? What if I went left instead of right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's great. That's real good shit, Mo.
Oh yeah, right on. Right on.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, I would have been down for that. And I think I would have loved. I know I mentioned this already with Marie and Skylar. I would have loved more about Walt, his upbringing. Like, does Walt have any siblings? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
does
right, right,
I
right.
don't we don't know much about Walt, and I think that's why. And I forget the way Spike words it as far as one being a novel, one being something else. Either way,
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah. He had a great quote. I can't remember. I
he
know
had a
what you're
great
talking
quote for that. I'm gonna butcher it, but that's the disconnect between Sopranos and Breaking Bad. Like, we're just watching Breaking Bad. We're just watching this guy make all types of crazy decisions, right? And
I
all
guess
types
it's
of
in the
like
title, I
wild.
guess.
Yeah, yeah, but we're just watching it, right? We're not really. Our investment is in the show.
Yeah,
I feel like with Sopranos, your investments with Tony.
yeah,
Like, you feel like if Tony, you feel like Tony's your friend. You feel
yeah.
like you want to
It's the
pull Tony to the
life.
side and pull his ear. Yeah.
It's the whole life of it all for me. Like with the Sopranos, it's the life. With the Breaking Bad, it's the scenarios.
Yeah.
I'm resonating with the decision making on the scenarios because
Yeah.
it's very scenario driven. And again, Sopranos got scenarios as well, but it's a little bit more drawn out. And even crazy to say because Breaking Bad is as well, but like I'm more driven to the life of this. And again, these poignant statements with Sopranos, it's in at the end. They made that statement at the pilot. We haven't gotten I feel like the statement that I've spoke to obviously until the very end. So there's not a driving statement that says, "Oh, this is the overarching thing of Breaking Bad." Maybe I go back to the pilot again and look at something he taught in the classroom. Maybe there's a statement within that may give that overarching through line of this is the concept, this is the theme of what the show is. But it's not quite established here because when we get the line that I've said, like I did it because I was good at this, it
Hmm.
there's not a moment prior until that moment Because everything else would think, oh, it's because you got cancer. Oh, it's because you're going to die. Oh, it's because you got a newborn coming. Oh, because you're going to leave your family behind. It's all of these different things that we look at Breaking Bad for to say, oh, this is why you're going to become a meth dealer. We never, until the end, where we finally get to the point where like, oh, I did it because I was good at it. So it's like there's not a through line, which is probably intentional because they don't want us to gather where they're coming, where they're going to go. And it's not, even if they made the statement, we still ain't gonna gather it. But I think Sopranos, when they say end at the end, that it worked perfectly for something like a mafia. Maybe not so much in this show. So I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's talk about a big reason with this show. With the excuse me, a big difference between the two shows, which are going to be the family dynamic and the supporting cast.
Okay.
Um, those are the things I think that really are the most glaring differences between Sopranos and Breaking Bad. For one, Breaking Bad is more of a well, let me ask you this. Which family dynamic is more realistic? And what I mean by that is take the criminal aspect out of both of these shows. Okay, just take the characteristics, which is what I'm asking about. Skyler is always on top of Walt in regards, except for when except for when he wants her to be. But she's always on top of Walt when it comes to his deception. Right? She knows it right away. She peeps things. She might not say something, but she's always talk to me, Walt. What's going on? Let me in. It's a constant thing, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
fragile, right? There's been moments at that table where nobody's talking, and Walt Jr. just looks at him and gets up and leaves. Like there's those fragile moments where you can feel that tension in the air. Sopranos, yeah, I know you're doing dirt, but just keep that shit out the house. We still gonna have family dinner. We still gonna talk. We still gonna try to play the whole everything is good. We're gonna be complicit um, because you provide a comfortable lifestyle, and we'll just live in denial about it. Which one do you think is more realistic?
They really neck and neck.
Hmm.
To be honest, it's really because with Breaking Bad, what I've started to notice now, because I've talked about it in season one, but now we're in season two. What I started to notice, because I don't relate to it, I started to see the realism in the sense that, okay, this is this casual family in Albuquerque, and it's this white, American family in this small little living like middle class lifestyle and just trying to figure things out. It's realistic. Like the more I watch, I'm like, it's realistic. It's just I don't relate to it. But I had to kind of throw that to the side to realize like because I don't relate to it, don't make it realistic, not non-realistic. It's very realistic. Even
Hmm.
Hank, Hank and how he's trying to figure out things with Marie, and it's very realistic. So
Yeah, it's a real thing. It happens. There's people who live that life, who
yeah,
just have that uncomfortable tension at the dinner table, and that's just
yeah,
what it is.
more realistic. That's a hard call because I'm not familiar with the mafia in real time in real life.
Well, no, like I said, forget the mafia
Oh,
aspect of it.
just
I
the
just
show
mean
aspect.
no. I just mean a general of you have one family who, if something goes wrong, it's known that something went wrong. Okay, in Breaking Bad, if something goes wrong, it's known. Skyler says something, she brings it up. She lets a lot. She don't let shit slide. She
See, it's
wants to
hard,
know what's going on.
again. It's hard because we're on our second. We're on our second lap with the show. I know.
I'm
I
talking about
know.
season one, just
Oh,
season one.
season one.
Yeah,
Okay, so Tony with the Ducks. His mom's like asshole. His son is not doing well in school. The
specifically, let's talk
I
about
don't know if
dinner
I can.
scenes,
Okay, I
right?
about to say because I don't know if I
Let's
can make that call because
yeah,
we
no,
get
let's
more.
let's look at it from dinner scenes, right? Like so, or breakfast scenes, however you want to call it. What I'm talking about is I forget what happened, but there was that moment when cause we made the comment about the hot sauce being on the table.
Hmm.
I forget what was going on in that scene, but there were no words spoken.
Hmm.
It was Walt and it was Skyler and it was Walt Jr. and Walt Jr. was kind of in the middle, looking at both sides, not saying anything. We knew something happened. That doesn't happen in the Soprano household. We're talking. If it doesn't, if we're having dinner, we're talking. It might get to the point where Tony's not home and there is no family dinner. But either way, even if Tony wasn't home, I know Carmela's still having AJ down for dinner and Meadow down for dinner in season one, right? That's
Hmm.
what's going on. There's not too much. There's no real questioning or investigating what it is that Tony does. We know that we know he's part of crime. But we're gonna go ahead and just excuse it because we reap the benefits of it. So it's a lot of denial versus confronting those feelings, or at least acknowledging that the feelings are there in Breaking Bad. So do you think? I guess what the easiest way to say is, do you think more families deny their issues, or do you think they
Embrace.
embrace them? Maybe not embrace them all the way, but at least acknowledge that something's going on with the hopes that it can be discussed. Because even now, we still haven't gotten to talk. Everything Walter says is a lie to Skyler. So we still haven't gotten to like a real heartfelt scene between them. Because even when it's supposed to be heartfelt, we know Walt's a scumbag and he's using it to his own benefit. Even him telling her he got cancer, that was out of necessity, not because you're my partner. I want to share this with you. We're gonna get through this together. Nah, I had to tell you this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I still got to go Sopranos as far as that. It's just because we just get more layers, and we just talking season one versus season one. We still get more layers. Like even Tony, like holding up the fact that he has to tell his wife, like I'm seeing a therapist. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like that was a huge deal to him to admit that. There's an episode Down Neck that's just strictly about AJ not doing well in school. There's a whole episode Boca, seeing his uncle and his, this whole rumor spreading and it like, I thought she was a bacala man,
What are you doing eating sushi?
sushi. So I don't know when. I better watch this series again. I'm letting it brew right now, but I think we just get more in season one. Like when you get 12, 13 episodes, you get a little bit more. We even get a flashback episode with the Sopranos. Isabella, to just kind of get this connection to see, his father and Uncle Junior when they were young, and like him, we get a lot of
Well,
things.
more so flash scenes. That's still the episode where Tony the hit that Junior puts out is attempted.
Right.
Isabella.
Yeah, but if we're going season for season, it's like we get more layers in regards to, even
And
yeah.
that's why it pays off in the
Yeah.
long run.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you can be patient with Sopranos, it's going to pay off in the long run. Where, like I said, Breaking Bad, once we start, hell, even the next episode we're going to discuss is really picking up the pace.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still a couple little, you're not there yet. I think I said it at the end of last season.
Yeah.
I think for me is Better Call Saul. Like not the show, the episode Better Call Saul.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's season 2, episode 9, if I'm not mistaken. Um, we'll get there in a couple months or so, but I think that's when the show becomes the show that we know and love. I don't think we're there yet. When people talk about Breaking Bad, they're not talking about this version of Breaking Bad, really, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
They're not.
They
They're not.
talk about, yeah, they talk
When
about,
we get the big when we get past Tuco, that's when I
yeah,
believe the Breaking Bad and people's memory kicks in.
yeah, absolutely. And in the same vein, when we talk about the Sopranos, this isn't the Sopranos that people talk about.
Nah.
It's not
Nah.
the season 1 Sopranos, and we discussed this at nauseum about
Mm-hmm.
the show being broken down into different parts. And I know
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like yeah, we did
you were
talk
the
about
first,
that.
yeah, and I know you were the first one saying when that split happened or when that switch happened with Tony
Mm-hmm.
becoming the Tony that we kind of, as you said earlier in this episode, that you kind of felt bad for, to the Tonys of now it's evil, now it got dark.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, all of that kind of happens. But like I said, season 1 set it up. Where season 1 of Breaking Bad didn't have to set up anything because that was never the intent of the story. It
Right.
was never to get you drawn in with the family, even though some of the family aspect. I know we talk about Ted a lot and all this other stuff. Some of that stuff is in there, but the show is still the show without the family, right? If
Right.
you if Vince Gilligan decided to write out Skyler and Walt Jr., you know how some shows do it where
They
the family just
stop
lets
shooting
stuff
scenes at
happen.
home.
Yeah, stop shooting soon at home and just kind of phases that character out. I think even we just talked about it. Billions did that. Bobby's wife and kids just
Oh
once
yeah, yeah,
one
yeah, for
one
sure.
season they just disappeared. Like
Bro, he had two
they
kids. One of the kids immediately disappeared.
that's what I'm saying. Like it just kind of went left.
Yeah.
Um, you can't do that with Sopranos. You need the family. The family plays too big of a role
Absolutely.
in the storyline. So you can't just show mob stuff after building up this family life
Nah,
and expect the same thing. It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't have
that
the
that
same
was in
type
the
of.
nucleus of the show. It's like that. The whole premise is this mobster going to therapy, and what is he going to talk about? He's talking about both families. And then he's talking about his intermediate family. He's talking about his mob family, but he's also talking about his, family he grew up with: his mother, his father, his sister. So it's three families essentially. So you need all of that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree
So,
with that.
so that's what I think that's why I think the interesting thing is just, David Chase versus Vince Gilligan, their intent, and I always say intentionality is everything, their intent of what they're trying to get across. It's not so much like, oh, this is the message, this is why, or this is your takeaway. I just want you to know this is how I'm trying to present it, and take from it what you will. And I think they just had two different versions of that, and that's where it doesn't make one show better than the other, more so than it makes it, this is just what angle you wanted to take in regards to present your show.
I like that. I like that. That's a good. It's a good synopsis overall. I mentioned the family, and once again, the kids and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because we have Meadow and AJ with Sopranos. Do you ever think about the fact that what if Holly was maybe 10 years old
Mm-hmm.
versus her being in Skylar at the start of season one? Do you think that changes anything for you? Or maybe they talk about family more if they do have that second child who's actually present and around? Because remember, I think so. I'm kind of answering my own question
Yeah, go ahead.
because you have to. I don't have kids. You do, and you have a daughter. And I know what they say about dads and their daughters. And I'm trying to picture Walt be as, I guess, shut down or standoffish with his news if he had the daughter there with him. Like, would that make him open up more emotionally? Would that require him to be more upfront about what he's going through because he wants to make sure that his baby girl understands everything? We see Walt Jr. cussing him out, calling him a pussy and all types of stuff. That's a different thing with your daughter. You know what I mean? If you see her cry, it's gonna break you down. And I just wonder if things would have changed if she was there compared to,
Well,
it's almost like college in season one
okay.
where Meadows this soft spot for Tony. Like Tony's a mob boss going on college visits. Like
Mhm.
those normally don't go hand in hand,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of stuff that he stops. He stops. Um, I think the only reason he doesn't take his shot, no, he didn't have the shot. He,
We're talking
he
about
was
Febby?
the target. Yeah, Febby actually had the shot on him.
Yeah.
In a way, Meadow was his protection. She was his shield. You
Yeah,
get what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's just funny how that ties out. What do you think about this whole? If
Well,
Holly was already established,
here's the thing. Again, so intentionality from David Chase versus Vince Gilligan. So Tony, the way Tony is presented and written, women play a heavy part in his character development. It
hmm
starts from Livia, his mother,
yeah,
and then it
facts.
goes down to his wife, his daughter, and his Gumars. We even see later Tracy character. So I think it's built more about his relationship with women. So it makes more sense to have an older child. With Walt, I don't think it necessarily makes sense because this show is not built around him and women really. It's really built
hmm
around him and men. Really, when you
hmm
really think about it, which is why I
Yeah.
think Walt Jr. is probably set the right way. And then of course the Ted character, and then of course we got all of the other ones, all of the strong male roles that play in this. So I think that it could be different, but I don't think it needed to be different because it wouldn't have served the character development of Walt. Walt in Women wasn't a um it wasn't like this like thing that was a part of his character. Because even then, we go back
Right.
to the gray matter thing, where
Yeah.
his roommate. It's again, it's men. His relationship with men and being slighted and feeling counted out, and it's him and women is not really a thing like that.
But would it have been if he had a daughter?
I
I
just
know if this was the fifth, we'd all be drunk. But I'm just saying, do you think that changes anything with his characters if we see that, or do you think Walt is just who he is?
nah. If he had a daughter, it'd still be the same because he still wasn't.
Okay.
Well, here's what I'll say. If he had a daughter, it would have changed some decisions he made in later seasons.
Okay.
And you know
That's
what I'm
fair.
relating to.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I know
That's what I
exactly
would
what you
say.
mean.
Yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't really change Walt. It just makes him think about something. Walt's a dirtbag,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
though he's not necessarily dirtbag level at the end of season one. He's still a dirtbag.
Yeah.
Um, it's hard. It's hard to not because it's. I think it's very easy. We all know the answer. Who has the best supporting cast? Sopranos is by far. Like it's not
Yeah.
even close.
Yeah, it's
Not
not.
even close. Like hanging out with the fellas. But there are two people in particular that I find very similar, and it's hard to ignore it. Jesse Pinkman, Christopher Moltisanti. You know what I mean? They're like
Yeah.
distant cousins as far as like their tragic storylines
Yeah.
and just the weight that they feel, the second in command, or Chris not necessarily second in command, but in a sense.
Hmm.
Um, but even if we take it in season one aspect and just talk about season one, almost like that younger, like that little brother aspect. Knowing that you're going to be important to what I do, but I'm never going to fully trust you to run it or fully trust you to do it. And maybe there's a little bit of I don't know. I don't know if Walt was ever jealous of Jesse. I think he was more so controlling. But you see that
I
same
think
control from Tony to Chris.
there's a later I feel like later seasons.
Maybe even is it this season? When does Jesse get his girlfriend? That
Maybe
season
next
two?
season. Maybe next
That
season.
season three?
It, it,
I can't remember which
I
season
mean,
that is.
we're both on the same
Yeah.
second time
Either
around. So
way,
yeah,
Walt has this thing where he wanted to be what Jesse needed, right?
that's what I'm
Like
getting at.
once Jesse found someone that was more important than what he was doing as far as cooking, I think Walt felt what do you mean you don't need me?
Hmm.
And by any means necessary, I'm gonna go ahead and get you back in my life because this is how this works. You
Crazy
don't
work.
get to leave. I tell you when you dismissed. Um, I remember it vaguely, but I do remember it, and I'm very curious, and that's something I'll keep an eye on as we get closer to that part. But they're very tragic figures. What are your thoughts on the whole Jesse Chris thing? As far as I guess who has the more tragic storyline um, as a whole, and just in season one where we are? Like, who do you feel? Who are you more concerned about heading into season two? If you're watching both shows.
Heading it, if you didn't bring it to season two, I might have a different answer. That's really tricky when you just we cap it at season one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because Christopher almost got whacked for coming at Junior's crew another time, but
Mm-hmm.
so did Jesse with Tuco.
Mm-hmm.
Um, tragic. Who had to? That's I. If we just keeping it season one, that's a hard call. I I gotta say Jesse, man. You know, he's a nickel and dimer. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we kept talking about it in season one, how all these opportunities he had to like just get out of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like all these opportunities. Chris could have got out of the game, and they elaborate
Had,
further in that throughout seasons, but he was
I
born
had his
into
own. He had his own scene. That scene with Tony and Chris was very,
yeah.
you know,
Even I
make
think
this
was it
decision.
even season one, the Legend of Tennessee Moltisanti. Isn't that the
And that's
one?
the scene I'm talking about. That's the one I'm
Okay,
talking about. When he
okay,
when he explicitly came to Chris and said, "You
yeah,
need to make
total,
a decision."
yeah.
Yeah.
It's perfect. So I do wish we got a Breaking Bad scene like that. But again, Walt, it is again, it's a different starting point. Like Walt wasn't thinking of like Tony Bennett is like, I know been in this thing for a while. I've been doing this. I'm telling you what's coming up, and I'm gonna give you an opportunity to get out of it while you can. Your old man was my guy, and I'm gonna give you a chance. Versus Walt and Chris, it's different because Walt, like, bro, I'm not a criminal. I never come from this, and you already was selling dope or whatever. So I'm not really trying to get you out the game. I'm trying to keep you in the game for my benefit.
Hmm.
So I think the more tragic story is Jesse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
Jesse. Like
Uh, hmm.
in season one, at the end of season one.
Yeah, at the end of season one, mainly. I don't know if I'd answer it that way if Jesse didn't get beat down by Tuco, but I do think it is the more tragic story. Just once again going into, yeah, Jesse was already in the mix, but he wasn't in the mix like that. And Chris chosen his life. Like he wanted to be a gangster too.
Yeah,
And actually felt like he should have been made.
yeah.
It was overdue. So yeah, because Jesse he got in over his head. He got in over his head, man. Teaming up with
Mhm.
Walt, and I understand because you think your old chemistry teacher about to get you in all this shit that you about to get into. Of course not. So uh, yeah, I would go with that one. Does Walt have an Uncle Junior type of character? Would it be Hank? Would it be Gus?
Would it be Mike?
One of the greatest television characters of all time. No,
Saul?
Mike is much better than. Ooh, yeah, because Mike is much better than Uncle Junior.
Yeah, yeah, of
And of course,
course.
the Uncle June with the dementia, Alzheimer's, whatever the case was. You kind of forget. You only get like a season and a half, Uncle Junior. Like the real.
Oh, like the Gangster Junior.
He's all. Yeah, he's gangster. He's all there.
Hmm.
I think maybe in season two you start questioning, like, hold on, does he? When did this actually start? That's one of the fascinating things that I like going back about the
Yeah, yeah.
Sopranos.
You're a fox.
You
So you
miss,
got everybody fooled.
yeah, you miss it. You miss Uncle. I miss Uncle Junior, like being,
Me too.
yeah, that was my
Man,
favorite version.
it was like, because it was up for real. That man didn't like a comment he made, told dude, go back out the car. Go get him out of here.
Yeah, man. Is somebody talking? Somebody hear that? You hear that?
Hey,
Somebody
you hear
talking?
that?
Hey,
Hey.
hey, shout out to Uncle
Hey,
Junior,
shout
man.
out
One
to
of the funniest
June.
dude. Um,
What's his name? Corrado. Yeah.
yeah, man. Corrado
Uh,
Soprano.
I mean, I guess maybe Saul, maybe. Maybe. I guess that's probably the closest comparison, even though he's not much older than Walt, if older at all. Um, Obviously we ain't got the character introduced for those that are new to it, but maybe. Yeah,
Do,
that's probably closest.
do you if you look at season one, who's more honest between Walt and Tony about what they got going on in their lives?
More honest. Tony and Walt.
Who's more honest with themselves?
With themselves?
Yeah. Uh,
Hmm.
or in general,
In
both
general.
of them, both.
Hmm. Again, that's why I got these episodes pulled up.
I think that
Uh
while you're looking at them, I think that anybody who's willing to, and once again, the conversation about why you're in therapy is one thing. He went for the panic attacks, so it's not like he went for some kind of self improvement. Um, but I think Tony's much more comfortable in his own skin. Where Walt's blatantly lying about everything.
you know what? I think that I'm gonna say Tony as well. I think Walt is this is new territory for him, as far as lying to these degrees. Like he had, been a certain way all his life, and I think this new territory where he's like, that's why it's throwing Skylar off so much. I think Tony, like Carmela's used to Tony's lies, where he does lie. I don't think anything's an exceptional lie in season one. Other than when Meadow asked, "Are you in the mafia?" Because he didn't see that coming. Like, well, that's a stereotype,
And it's
and
offensive.
it's offensive. But other than that, I think Walt was taking in season one was taking great risks. You know what I'm saying? And lies because this wasn't familiar territory in their relationship, and so I'd probably say Tony was maybe more honest.
Who told better lies? Who told? Yeah,
I
who was a better liar?
gotta get that
Flip
to
that
Walt.
question on
Well,
its
I
head.
think Walt was better lie though.
Mm, I
I
think
think
so.
I definitely think Walt because he's more of a logical person.
He the better liar. Or is he just more secretive?
I wouldn't.
Tony's in the open with it.
I'm not gonna say he's more secretive than Tony. Um,
Mm,
I
is
won't
it
say
too?
that because Tony is part of Costa Nostra. You can't get more secretive than that. Even in at the end, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
but with the family aspect of it, I think he's more open about what he.
Like with
Walt just lie. I feel like
Like
everybody. Any like it's almost like a don't ask, don't tell.
it
But
is. Don't
everybody
make me make you
knows.
an accessory after the fact.
Yeah, but everybody knows. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing when I'm looking at it. Where's Walt looks secretive. He acts secretive. He acts suspicious. Tony just being himself. You know what I mean? Even if he's a jovial, miserable prick, but Walt, you can see the when he talks, you know he lying to you. Like, you know what I mean? This is the way he carries, and that's a lot to do with Bryan Cranston, the way he played the character. It is necessary for the show, so I'm not saying it in a bad way, but you also know it and you see it, and
Hmm.
you prepare for it. You don't
Yeah.
expect anything to come out of his mouth to be the truth,
Hmm.
unless he's talking about science or chemistry or how they gonna do their
True.
next big move.
True. Huh.
Like he's always trying to hide it. He's always trying to hide what he has going on. Versus Tony, just more so, I'm trying to protect you from your own self, which is, you know, don't make yourself an accessory, like you said.
Yeah. After the fact.
Yeah, yeah, agreed, agreed. Um, who do you think has the better episode? Which season has a better episode? Which series in season one?
Like, which episode are you saying? Who has the best episode
Yeah,
of season one?
if you combined, well, there were seven of Breaking Bad, there was 13. So you take all 20 episodes between both shows. 21st season episodes. Seven for Breaking Bad, 13 for Sopranos. Which episode is the best, you think, between the two shows?
I want
You
to
think
do.
that comes
Can we
to
do
mind?
one and two maybe?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because
Do whatever
I
you like,
think
man.
both. I think one of them's gonna be one and two is gonna be the other. So
Okay, so yeah, let's do that. Then let's talk about the two.
so it's hard because I Dream of Genie Cusimano. It was an excellent finale. Um, in the sense that, and Isabella too, more so for the action sequence, but like
Yeah,
I Dream of Genie Cusimano, like he having to keep it a beam with Melfi, like, hey, look, this is what's going on. Get out of town. Get out of Dodge. But I really love the college episode. I do love the Legend of Tennessee Montesanti. Um, I always feel like college is the definitive episode. I think it's a roller coaster ride. So, but also in Breaking Bad and the bags in the river for me because of the whole Crazy Eight and Walt thing is just amazing. Like that is just amazing. Like, cause Walt was trying to find a reason not to get him out of here because he's not a killer. He's a science teacher.
that episode is the one. That's my Walt's Not Broken Bad yet example. Just FYI.
Okay, that's perfect. Well, hey, listen, me and you on the same side. That's what we're gonna always go back because if Walt was already bad, he wouldn't have been trying to
Yeah,
figure out how to not kill him.
that's the one I always go back to. That's the one. I think that's the strongest argument
He
for.
shared beer with him.
That's what I'm saying, man. He cut the crust off.
Yeah,
Like, you don't do all that if you broken bad already.
that's bro. Come on.
The way he wrestled with that decision, that's
That's a,
just
I'm glad you said it because I do need a reference point because I'm with you on it, but I don't always think deeply about it. But like, yeah, that's a great reference
that's
point.
it. No, that's it. That's 100% it. So, um, when you get to the ends, well, let me answer myself. College, for me, college is just, um, I think it's the most important episode of season one.
Yeah, which critics
100%.
also say as well.
Yeah, it's the most important episode of season one.
Hmm.
The finale, I'm not gonna hold you. Like the last two, Isabella and I Dream of Jeannie Kuzumano, both solid episodes, both strong episodes.
Hmm.
Um, I don't put them in the same category as college.
I
It
know it's
wasn't as
weird because that because the stakes was high on the finale. Like they knew
they were.
it was Tony versus Junior. It was up, and like it's a war. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is what it is. Junior got locked up, didn't he?
Was that a year locked up or was that the dinner with the camera?
Okay. But okay.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's in that
For break,
season. That camera with the look that all of the dartboard there, yeah.
yeah, I
Mm.
thought that was the end of season one.
And then we also got Crazy Handful of Nothing too, where Walt
Well,
go.
that's what I was getting to. You got crazy handful of nothing in the bags in the river, and you got the pilot too, in my opinion. Um,
I
so
I wouldn't put the pilot up there as far as like if we talk 1 and 2. It's
I think
good,
crazy.
but it's not. It's categorized for pilots for me versus like we talking episodes, especially season 1 episodes because we got. I mean, Cats in the Bag and the Bags in the River are already better from what had to be done, and then also Crazy Handful of Nothing.
Yeah,
Uh,
they if you had, I think crazy handful of nothing in college are very similar. So where
okay.
each anti-hero had a very bold decision to make that couldn't be helped. Like there was no other option. I have to do this. Maybe there was another option, but they weren't going to take that other options. You know,
Hmm.
neither one of them were. Um, and they both have explosive consequences, no pun intended, with everything that's going on in the series and how it kind of shifts the series on its head. The show becomes a show to some degree, not the full degree,
Hmm.
but it changes the trajectory based off of those two episodes. Um,
I'm
I
gonna
just
go.
still think
My bad. Go ahead. My bad. My
no, I
bad.
was gonna say in true Mo fashion, I'm gonna side with you, or not side with you. I'm gonna say that I like college more because of something you always bring up, which is the family aspect. The fact that you with your daughter on a college tour and have to handle your business as a mobster, those worlds are colliding and you can't do anything about it. You got to figure out a way to make both of them happen. I just think that's so much more fascinating than yes, it's seeing Walt in that cold open with the shaved head for the first time, the chaos in the background, him walking out with the bag. Everything about that episode and that scene, we talked about it just a couple weeks ago, but the payoff you get from college is just phenomenal. And it's the tension of not knowing if Tony's in the bushes and him thinking it's a deer, and then all of a sudden
Yeah, bro.
it's just one of them ones, man.
It's hard though because for me, it's definitely between college and the Bags in the River. Because in the Bags in the River, like Walt has to, the scenario has gotten so high, he has to whack somebody. Like he's never done this.
Hmm.
And that's why I kind of and again I hate to say I know Sopranos is my favorite show, but I might have to side it to Breaking Bad because the stakes were higher. Like and then I talked about how Crazy Eight, like he realized, oh, he's civilian gang. I gotta appeal to the civilian side of things. And like everything was all good. He almost got out until Walt pieces the plate together and realizes there's a gray area of when he passed out. And when he did, he's like, no, no, like because it's like, dang, I got to do something I've never done before. Versus Tony, he got to do something never done before. As far as I'm on a college trip with my daughter, but I also got to whack somebody. It's a totally different thing, but nonetheless, it's a challenging thing. So, but I think Walt's stakes was higher, and they labored in the scene, and
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's what I appreciated. So I'm going number one of both seasons, and the bag is in the river from Breaking Bad. Number two, college.
I like that. And I always remember I wasn't part of the show then, but I always remember you talking about that pilot episode and how Tony missed. He loved it. I don't know if it was you or Spike, but when they were chasing down Buddy in the car,
Yeah,
like Tony loved that. He wanted like it had been a while since he'd been.
yeah, he's smiling and everything.
He preferred that more than anything. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Forget being a boss. I want to be out here in the street smacking people up. Um, yeah, college and then crazy handful of nothing for me. College, I think, is the best episode between all 20,
I ain't mad.
between
I
both
ain't mad.
seasons. I
I ain't
do.
mad.
I really do think that. Um, and the last thing I have for you, which finale do you think sets up the entire series? Which one makes you more intrigued to see what happens next?
I don't
Do you
think
think it's
it's
I
even.
Dream as Jenny Cusimano, or do you think it's a no rough stuff type deal?
Yeah, it's without a doubt. I dream of Jeannie Cusimano, Sopranos.
Interesting. Why? Because a no rough stuff type of deal is much more. Hmm.
I
It's
told
more
you,
direct. It's more direct.
it's direct, but it was anticlimactic because again, what Breaking Bad did was, and it became the establishment of how they structured their episodes. They already had higher highs, so where they dropped off at was so weak to me. And I talked about it in our review. I didn't like
Okay.
it. Like I even felt like I told you the episode 6, the um what do they call it? The
Episode 6 of which one? Sopranos or
Breaking Bad. Like what do they call it? The episode before the finale?
penultimate?
Penultimate. So the penultimate was a higher high. And so I really
Hmm.
didn't like where they went, even though they had some good stuff in there with Tuco. However, but with I Dream of Jeannie Cusimano, the stakes was high. It was like, yo, this to me felt like a prequel to what season 6 was going to be when they was going to war. Like it's a light version of it,
Hmm.
but it felt like the stakes was high. Hey, you got to get out of here. This is going on. That's this, that, yada yada. And then at the end of it, when the war is all kind of settled between the crews, they're sitting there at dinner and at goodness gracious, Artie Bucco's restaurant, Vesuvio's, and it's they got the poison ivy and everything, and then you get this, remember the times that were good. And this is after the fact that like he might have to whack people, all that. And remember the times are good. Like that shows you the whole idea of what Sopranos is going to be. It was the high was there, like in my opinion, versus Breaking
The
Bad.
high was
It wasn't as a high to me. Uh, so
okay. The high was there. I agree with you, but did you have the patience?
mm,
Like, I guess it really depends on what you look for, right? If you're looking for more of the action packed, boom, 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 it might have been Breaking Bad. I think Sopranos established itself as you got to be patient with us because we're gonna get there. We building something. We world building versus Breaking Bad was very, very cause and effect.
hmm
You know what I mean?
hmm
There wasn't like we discussed. There wasn't too much emphasis on the family. We saw them. We knew who they were. We know about Marie. We know about Hank. We know about Skyler. We know about Walt Jr. All these other things. We've seen Jesse's family. So what you always say, and I agree with you, that's much more fascinating than the white family.
hmm
But also, eh, you know what I mean?
hmm
It's just more so how do we keep the storyline moving with this such unique, with this guy completely who seems like he's out of his depth and keep going in this. I think it's more the payoff is quicker in Breaking Bad, but it's more rewarding in Sopranos.
Yeah, it is quicker, and I think they were intentional when they knew that they had 7 episodes, and I'll speak
Yeah.
to that in a moment. But you got to think about it. And I Dream of Jeannie Cusimano. You got Olivia pulling up to the crib now. All of a sudden, she's playing dumb, right? After
Hmm.
trying to get a failed hit on Tony and Isabella, right? You got
Hmm.
Artie at the church talking about these dark things and like things that he thinks about. You got Jimmy, who's a rat. They said, Chris set him
Hmm.
up. He sets him up with this little Gumar type of situation, and then they, get him up out of there. You know, Tony goes to, he tells her what it is, and it's so good. Like he reminiscing the recording. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like I think they get to it sooner with Breaking Bad, but I think that it is more rewarding because of a 13 episode season with Sopranos versus a 7 episode season of Breaking Bad. So I'm still going. I'm still going there because the family aspect. You go to war and then you come back together, and it puts a nice button on the season. You see the pilot and you see this one, and I feel like it's a cohesive season. Like I look at the I don't. Breaking Bad didn't have enough episodes to be cohesive in season one, in my opinion.
Man, it kind of
It,
goes to what we've been saying. Yeah.
yeah, it's not inconsistent. I won't say that, but it's just not as cohesive as Sopranos. You got 13 episodes to lay. You got a whole episode down neck just dealing with AJ and AJ being similar to Tony, but also AJ problems in school. That got nothing to do with the mafia, which they didn't do a ton of those episodes other than like maybe house arrest later down the road. But still, it's this had nothing, no action, no Gumar, nothing. And so they're afforded the mundane episode of a down neck versus Breaking Bad. So I think that it was more of a cohesive thing because you got to tap into these different aspects. So season two, it left us like, hey, whatever type of episode comes up, we good with. Versus Breaking Bad, and it kind of worked in Breaking Bad's favor as far as, oh, y'all don't know what we're gonna do next because the cohesion wasn't necessarily there. So we can go anywhere in the same sense, but for a different reason.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I think final verdict is it really depends on what your taste is. If you are more of an action movie type of person, like if you that's your genre, I think you're going with Breaking Bad. I think the pace of it and as it moves along and it sacrifices the build for the action. And it's still great character development, great writing, fascinating characters. We just haven't met all of. See, that's the thing. We meet all of them in Sopranos in season one. We don't meet
Right.
all of the definitive and fascinating characters from from Breaking Bad until season two and even season three. Um, so we only get to spend half of our time with them, where we know Paulie and Seal and Chris and all these
Artie
people
Bucco.
early on. Artie Bucco, all of them. I mean, the only really the only significant people that I say are Ralph and Richie. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there's other people I'm not thinking of, but as far as the crew
Yeah,
goes,
you're right.
and Furio comes at the in
Furio,
season
Tony
two, right?
Blundetto.
Yeah, all those guys. But even Tony, people, I don't know how many people
Yeah, that's true.
you remember his storyline, but
You don't care
he
for him.
never really kind of fit in with one of the fellas. Not in the same way that the other people did.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, and yeah, if you like more of a MCU person, if you're a Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, like I want to build this entire world. I'm patient. I'm patient with sitting in the theater for 3 hours and just kind of getting the slow motion portion of things because I know when the next movie come out, it's about to be heat. You know what I mean? You can't get to Endgame without sitting through Incredible Hulk and sitting through, some of these other things. It doesn't make sense, or it might be a little bit lethargic or mundane, but it all pays off at the end. And I think that's what I compare Sopranos to. Um, and it makes you miss it, even though we just finished recording it
I know.
last year, early this year. I miss Sopranos, and
I
There's part of me that
know.
wants to go back and watch it again, but I
Yeah.
don't have the capacity, or do I want to? Because I know how I want to do it. I want to listen to us. I'll probably rewatch Sopranos once we take the break after Breaking Bad, um, and maybe try to listen. I don't know. We'll see how it goes,
That's
but
crazy,
neither
right?
neither one of them are bad answers. It really just depends on what your preference is. Um, And I'll be able to better answer this, I guess, once we get deeper into Breaking Bad. Because, like I said, I remember it just going up another level, and that's another thing too, Mo. I wonder if I wonder if it's going to play out the way I remember it. I wonder if it's going to constantly turn into, oh, when does this turn into the show I remembered it as, or if it's going to hit that point and I can recognize it. I
I'm
don't
about to
know.
say I feel like you said it early. At least I think you started in the penultimate episode, then you doubled
Yeah,
down in the finale, and even season one. And I think you were spot on when you talked about season two, episode two. I think you nailed it, and I know we'll obviously review it. And that's an interesting thing too, because when I watched Sopranos the second time around, I watched it right after because I felt like I was missing something, and it pulled me back in just when I thought I was out.
mm,
Uh, so this one, all these years later, like I ain't watched this since my first child was born, and she's 11.
mm,
So
fair.
it's just crazy to say. So I hadn't watched it since my first child was born. So that's a grip ago. So, um, but I am getting some of those feels that I remember, and that's why I can't wait to talk about episode two so much. Is that reason, like you said, trying to see how you remember it and how it holds up versus Sopranos immediately. Like it drew me and I watched it a second time around. Uh, so
Understood. Understood, man. Well, you got anything else before we get out of here?
I did want to mention too, Artie Bucco almost whacking Tony. That was also in that finale, which was an interesting. Hey, listen, because she was playing and she was like, "Hey, that's a shame what happened and all that. He burned down your old restaurant and it was a lot of good stuff." But
Can't stand Olivia, man.
I know she was the worst. I dogged her for so many seasons. We'll keep having the Skylar White, Carmela Soprano conversation. Walter Jr. and AJ conversation, I'm sure. Um, yeah, I'm excited about it. And shout out to all of our No More Half Measure fans. Shout out to our Good Earner fans. Yeah, both getting the episode this week. So I'm excited
No
about
doubt.
this.
No doubt. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back to our regular scheduled program next Monday. Actually, no. Um, Next Monday we won't. Cause we always intended to have an episode this week. We weren't gonna drop an episode before New Year's, but we'll have an episode the Monday after New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the plan. So yeah, we'll just do it like that. So you get this bonus episode now that'll hold you out throughout the holiday week. You won't have an episode on the 29th. We'll let
Mm-hmm.
y'all know that in advance, but we will make sure we're not taking off New Year. You'll have an episode on the 5th. It'll
Mm-hmm.
be season two, episode two. Look forward to about talking about that. Excuse me. Look forward to talking about that and getting back into the bag. So in the meantime, please send your emails, your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on these conversations in the kitchen, which Mo has named. Um, Let us know what you think about anything we said, whether it's good earners or no more half measures. If you are on the good earners feed, come on, holla at us at no more half
Straight
measures,
up.
man. We're early in season two of the show. Still plenty of time to catch up. Y'all know how we get down. But with that being said, Mo, my brother, I appreciate you
Yes,
for
sir.
taking the time to make sure we fed the feed.
Thank you.
Um, and we'll see y'all next week or 2 weeks from now, should I say. We out.